right, so
Uh,
I'm joined by Chris from the band Stitched Up. This is on Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. Good to have you on the show.
yeah, thanks for having us. Our guitar player Matt, he's stuck in traffic
Gotcha.
right now, so and it's raining in Austin finally.
Well,
So, but yeah, he
that's
might pop up.
good and bad, I guess. That it's raining,
Uh,
finally raining, but bad that he's stuck in traffic.
yeah, it's just another day.
Just another day. Well, it's good to have you here. I know Stitched Up has a new album coming out on the 26th. Uh, Basically next week called Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult, which I had the chance to listen to. And one thing that I noted that I really enjoyed, first of all, I love pop culture. That's sort of where I ruminate. So the fact that you have a track titled David Carradine and it has it has dialogue from Death Race 2000, I was really thrilled by that. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I mean, I'm glad you actually caught that. Um, we actually had one of our older songs called Andy Warhol. That didn't make it to the record. Might pop up eventually in the future, but that's kind of like the state of mind I had with like music, like lyrically and flow and stuff as well.
Yeah, well, one of the things I read that I really thought hit the nail right on the head was that the music explores the darker side of humanity, paralleled with an inspiration from pop culture. So I felt like that really sort of described the music for those of you out there. It's very much inspired by, 70s era punk and 80s era thrash. And, you could keep going with eras and numbers and stuff, but it's really well done, but it's a combination of great music, and then I loved the David Carradine reference, and the other songs are great too, even though there weren't as many obvious pop culture references that I could pick up on. But if you're a fan of that genre, then I definitely recommend picking up the album when it comes out. Were there other inspirations specifically for this album that you were trying to do?
Um, I mean, it all just came together like piece by piece. Like every song has a completely different meaning, and then it just all just melts together to become the album that it is. Usually with the music or album, I'll have like an idea and like they'll pop up eventually in the future. Like originally, I wrote a song called the David. It was just a joke. We called it the David Carradine Experience, talking about like the whole meaning behind David Carradine, and when we all found out, like, oh, how he died and all that stuff. Like, that's crazy. And we had, I mean, I did. Oh, it sounds very, very terrible, and it's usually how I come up with just ideas, and then it just translated like years later into the future and became a whole completely different beast with Rom contributing, our drummer Rom contributing to the music. And I've always, and for instance, like on the last song of the album, Mars actually has the Jim Jones suicide tape on it. So we sampled that onto that to where it just becomes a whole cultural thing. And it's just like an influence of cults and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's right in my wheelhouse. So I liked it just on a personal level, but I think everyone will enjoy it because the music is really good. And if it's sort of like Easter eggs, like if you like, I recognized Death Race 2000, um, and you'll find these little things that will sort of be like a little bit more subtle. Um, and the other question I had for you is, where does the title of the album come from? I think our connection may not be the best.
Oh, you there?
Yeah, yeah. We're sorry about that. I guess the connection dropped.
Missed everything. It was so important.
No,
Just kidding.
I got most of it. You talked about the genesis of the songs. For David Carradine, it was your idea originally, and then it you brought it in. The drummer added something to it, and it became sort of a different. Uh,
Yeah, it's a lot of everybody contributed to the song. Um, like lyrically, it came from, and like the state of mind of the song came from like a terrible idea of a song I wrote, and then when the band comes in together, it just becomes a whole beast. Because the idea of the song I originally wrote was completely different. It sounded terrible, um, but the idea was there.
right. The other question I had is where does the title of the album come from?
I'm a huge Cowboy Bebop fan.
Gotcha.
Um, there's a two-part episode called Jupiter Jazz, and I always just the flow of it right off the tongue sounds cool. And Jupiter being a planet of chaos, and jazz is all over the place, like musically wise. And the Suicide Cult, I just thought that sounded really awesome because I'm also a huge David Bowie fan, kind of like uh, Ziggy Stardust, his album, The Spiders from Mars. I always like the flow of that title connected. So that's kind of where I melted that together. And like you're saying, the pop culture reference, like with David Bowie and stuff like that. I kind of had the idea in my mind with songs like David Carradine or X to Y. I mean, because the whole album's like straight up reminds me of just a sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of flavor. Um, and just every song, like I said, it's completely different. It's kind of like the first opening track, Brujas, is about crystal meth and violence against women, and it's from there it goes into like Zero Bullshit, which is a different level of destruction and stuff like that. So it's very influenced, like you said, by the pop culture and shit like that.
Well, it's interesting that a lot of the subjects for some of these songs are really sort of dark, have dark themes. They're very serious, but yet the approach and a lot of what you bring to it is sort of like ironic pop culture references. So it's a really cool mixture, um, of things that you're able to do. And I really enjoy when bands are able to do that. Like there are a lot of bands out there who I feel either take themselves too seriously or they joke too much and there's not, but you guys seem to have found a really good balance where you can write a song that's about crystal meth and violence against women, but you can also include like a 70s film dialogue in there. So it works on so many levels.
Yeah, I mean, usually when it comes to the writing process and this live performance, there's a lot of no fucks given in there, but at the same time, it's like, wait, we gotta not be too crazy with it. So I mean, we end up writing songs like "Goat Fucker," and
Right,
just
right. Well, it's like on the same album, you've got a song titled Goat Fucker on the same album where you're also writing about really serious topics. So it definitely there's a lot of checks and balances. Um, but it's ultimately at the end, I've always said like the only reason why half of these the names of these genres or criteria exist is to give people something to argue about. Um, like no, this is thrash, no, this is doom, this is threat, but
yeah.
ultimately if the music is good, that's really all I care about. um, and I think there are a lot of people that are going to get a lot out of this album, musically, but also like for me personally, I look forward to going back and listening to it again and finding, these little moments. Like you had mentioned, you have Jim Jones's tape at the end of one of the songs. That's something that I want to go back and hear again. Now that I sort of know exactly what the context is.
Yeah,
So
we have a so the song Mars, like all the speech parts or sample parts is from the Jim Jones, and at the end of the song with the suicide tape, there's a ghost recording. Uh, I'm already gonna screw it up. But I mean, I gotta look it up real quick because I forget it all the time.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, the song from the forget the band name, old '50s band. You can even research it of the ghost recording with the song titled "I'm Sorry," and that's also played at the very end of the album. You can hear it like in reverse slow motion of it. Um, as that song Mars was written with uh, our former drummer who passed away last year, and yeah, last year, and we brought that back and reorganized it, fixed it up with our current drummer Rom, who's been with us for several years, and he took us to like a whole different level of the band because we have a first album called '86, completely different theme and everything, and then this one just upped it in the level and Computer Gov. His brother is the one who recorded, produced it at Evil Snail Studios in Austin, and he also helped contribute to the band with the writing process as well. He also challenged us, um, helped us add more layering lyrically, like telling me like, hey, we should add more vocals here and there to give it more flavor. Um, cut certain parts shorter and helped us develop as musicians as well. And he took the whole album to like the album was already done, but he took it even further up. And we're already in the writing process for the next album because this album's done during the pandemic. That was our thing we're doing when everything was on lockdown. We're just like sneaking out to the studio, finish up the recordings and stuff like that. And then, yeah, the next album's gonna be even more epic.
Well, I look forward to going back and listening to this one again, hearing the new one when it comes out. Do you have are there plans to play in Austin or to promote the album as it releases? Do you guys have shows scheduled or is it sort of wait and see?
Well, we got a music video dropping tomorrow for the song Necromantis, and next Friday, not yeah, following Friday on the 26th, we actually have a show with our friends in Form Suicide. They're from Austin. To me, they're the greatest punk rock band of all time. Local band. I suggest you check them out if you get time. It's Sky Burial, which is also good friends of ours, who Rom Gov also plays drums for, so he's gonna be doing double do that same night. Um, and then we have following month one show with a band called Warbringer, and then October we're going to be on a roll all over Texas, from possibly the Dallas area, Houston, Corpus Christi. Uh, we got some friends out in a horror theme park that we're playing called Bad City Scaregrounds in Austin, and we have a lot of good friends over there in the horror crowd in Texas. Um, we try to, when it comes to live shows, keep it open and as diverse as possible. And there's a lot of good people out here in Texas,
Hmm.
especially in Austin. So it's like you got all types of bands who are into horror and all kinds of stuff like that, which I really love. So there's gonna be a lot of pretty cool shit come October for sure for us.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I mean, for now, the band is called Stitched Up. They're easy to find on social media. I think you guys have a dedicated website also. The album is called Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult, and that releases on the 26th. And it's great to know that you're also writing new music and you'll be out performing. So that's great. But I recommend if you're on the fence about this, you shouldn't be. Go pick up the album when it drops. Definitely check out Stitched Up. They've got a great blend of pop culture and really great music, which again, that's sort of my wheelhouse where I'm comfortable. So I'm glad to know that you're going to be making more music for years to come.
Hell yeah,
So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me,
yeah,
and
man.
good luck with everything.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You got it.
Rock on, man.
Thank you.